Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Film for Fans podcast, the podcast from movie fans for movie fans. I am your host, Ryan Dunlevy. That's my co-host, Rob Duhnam.
Movies. It'd be really cool if some good ones were coming out.
It would. It'd also be good if people recognize what good movies are. But that's a discussion for perhaps another week. But we have a good show in store for you. Last time we reviewed 2024 and gave you our top 10 movies of the year. Now we are going to do a little bit of looking forward to 2025, movies that are coming out over the next couple of months and ones that we might want to highlight. And so how we're going to do this today is we're going to kind of go through the rest of January, February, March, and into April. And Rob will give something that he's interested in a particular month. I will give something I'm interested in, and we might hit some other ones around there that would be of greater interest. We won't hit every single movie coming out over the next 4 months, but we'll get you a good preview as to what we're going to be looking at as far as theaters over the next couple of months. So, Rob, are you ready?
I am ready.
And we might close out with our watch list because we haven't done that in a while. So we might close out with movies we've watched over the last couple of weeks. All right, Rob, let's get it started. So January only has 1 week left. There's 1 week coming out. A couple of, the main highlight, main highlight. I don't know if you want to call it the main highlight. Dogman comes out.
That's not what I'm excited about, but yeah, it does come out on January 31st.
Yes, Dogman is an animated film, and starring Isla Fisher and Ricky Gervais is in this one. When a faithful police dog and his human police officer owner are injured together on the job, a harebrained but life-saving surgery fuses the two of them together, and Dogman is born. Dogman is sworn to protect and serve and fetch and sit and roll over. Yeah, so that's a movie that's coming out. We talked a little bit briefly. We've had a discussion a number of times in recent weeks and months that who came up with this premise? Like, who decided this was a good idea? Of all the movies that get made versus ones that don't, like, I don't understand.
It is a family movie, so it's probably going to make money.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It is it is a little bit macabre for a kid's movie, though. Mm-hmm. Like the premise itself.
I mean, it's kind of interesting to make fun of it in the trailer. Like, let's sew the top half of this dog and the bottom half of this man together. And they're like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's Dogman. That is not the movie I'm excited about.
What movie are you excited about?
So I'm excited to see Companion, which is a horror movie coming out. The main guy character in the movie is Jack Quaid, who, if you have watched the Amazon show The Boys at all, he's Huey on The Boys, like the main good character on that show. Has been in a few other scary movies, been in some of the Scream movies recently, and it just looks like a interesting, disturbing kind of movie, which I'm more interested in seeing than Dogman.
Yeah,
it's a movie that I've watched the trailer for, and I really don't have any idea what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
if it's any good.
And I'll just highlight one more that's coming out. Green and Gold is coming out, and it's about if you're looking for something in the week in between when the Super Bowl is and championship games. This one has a little bit of a football flavor. Craig T. Nelson stars in this one. Basically, it's a dairy farmer who's about to lose his farm due to mounting debts, and decides he's going to place a daring Super Bowl bet on the beloved Packers and risk everything on his bet for the Super Bowl. So, yeah. That is another one coming out. All right, so let's move on to February. And February is another interesting month where you have some films of interest coming out. Is there one in particular that you are interested in?
So there's one in particular that I'm interested in. Again, it's a horror movie,
Mm-hmm.
The Monkey, which is based on a Stephen King short story.
And that comes out February 21st.
Yes, and I'm always up for something Stephen King related. However, the week before February 14th, I would say is probably the week that the biggest movie of the month is coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's Captain America Brave New World. Yes. The first Marvel movie in a little while in the of the MCU variety.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got Harrison Ford, it's got Sebastian Stan, it's got Anthony Mackie, Liv Tyler, like all the big ones. And basically, the plot here is after meeting the newly elected U.S. President Thaddeus Ross, played by Harrison Ford, Sam finds himself in the middle of an international incident, a mysterious attack. He must discover the reason behind the nefarious global plot against the world leaders, for a true mastermind has the entire world seeing red. Oh, spoiler. Seeing red.
Yeah,
oh.
Very interesting that Tyler's in this, considering the Red Hulk is going to be a main part of this movie.
Yeah, because
so her connection to that, I'm very interested in, because she was the Hulk's caretaker or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Was that
was the Edward Norton version?
Hulk, yes,
that was the Edward Norton Hulk, had Liv Tyler in it. So yeah,
it's very interesting that they've decided to circle back around to Liv Tyler, because I would have to assume she's going to be the same person. So like, what's her connection to this?
Yeah, it's really interesting.
New character.
It's really interesting because they basically just pretended that Hulk movie doesn't exist.
Yeah,
it's really fascinating that they basically just pretend it does not exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't find it. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and I've heard that like a lot of people said that Edward Norton was really hard to work with on that movie, and et cetera, et cetera. But
he was also very, very frustrated with the final product.
Yeah, and I could just see, like, he seems almost like too serious of an actor in some ways to be involved in, like, overly involved in superhero movies, at least back how it was then. Like, we've come a long way from then. I do think Mark Ruffalo is great as the Hulk, but I'm always going to be biased a little bit to Edward Norton, just because I love Edward Norton. So.
Yeah. Also that week coming out is Paddington in Peru. So it's, I think, the third of the Paddington movies, if you're into those type of things. One that intrigues me comes out February 7th, and that's Love Hurts. And this stars Ke Huy Quan.
Mm-hmm. One of those, or a mixture of them.
Yes, or some version of that.
I don't know it well enough to correct you. So
I know.
I'm just gonna say it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, he was the kid in the second Indiana Jones movies, who then wasn't acting for a long time, came back in Everything Everywhere All at Once, was awesome in that movie. This is another movie involving him. And the plot here is he stars as Marvin Gable, a realtor working in Milwaukee suburbs where for sale signs bloom. Gable receives a crimson envelope from Rose, a former partner in crime that he had left for dead. She's not happy. Now Marvin is thrust back into the world of ruthless hitmen filled with double crosses and open houses, turned into deadly war zones. With his brother Knuckles, great name for brother, a violent crime lord hunting him, Marvin must confront the choices that haunted him in history he never truly buried. So this is kind of an action comedy type movie, and it looks kind of fun to me.
Yeah.
So that's something that's one that I'm particularly interested in when it comes to theaters in February.
Sonic Universe taking a very strange turn.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I love how the premise is kind of like they're basically taking the most boring, mundane thing, like a realtor or open houses, and they're going to turn it into an interesting movie there. Anything else that piques your interest in February?
Not so much. There's really not a lot coming out the next few months. It doesn't seem like,
Yeah,
to be fair.
there's a few things.
I will say the movie I'm most interested in at over the 4 months total comes out in March,
Mm,
which is Mickey 17
I would agree. Yes.
coming out March 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Boon June Ho, or
We're having
whatever.
trouble with Asian names
Yeah.
today,
Um,
unfortunately.
he directed Parasite,
He did.
and I think we've been talking about a Parasite breakdown. It's going to have to happen probably early March before this movie comes out.
I think that sounds like a good time for
And
him.
I feel that Robert Pattinson has done, in my opinion, a solid job of establishing himself as a really good actor who I want to see
Yeah.
in a movie. So I'm excited about Mickey 17. It looks funny and clever, and I always like new takes on a sci-fi premise.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's really interesting. And this is the one when I first saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, he derives so much of the visuals from The Empire Strikes Back, particularly the ice world of Hoth.
mm-hmm.
Like it is all over the trailers from what we're looking at. Really, really interesting. I think it's kind of a fun sci-fi premise, and I think they're not casting it as being too super serious. So I think it's going to be a kind of a fun sci-fi movie. And yeah, Robert Pattinson is great.
And we mentioned Mark Ruffalo earlier as the Hulk. He's also in this.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that's one of them that's coming out. Another one is Novocaine. This is one I wanted to highlight that I thought was kind of interesting. Jack Quaid is the star of this one, and when the girl of his dreams is kidnapped, everyman Nate turns his inability to feel pain into an unexpected strength in his fight to get her back. So if you've seen the trailer for this, it's kind of fun and interesting. Even the movie poster for it kind of has a fun feel. It's kind of a cartoon drawn thing with arrows pointing to various things that are injuring his body. It's kind of fun movie. It comes out March 14th, and I think it could be an underrated. I think it could be an underrated movie that I have interest in. It just sometimes movies just pique your interest, and I think you and I have developed our own taste sensibilities enough to know that if something grabs us like this, then we're probably on the right track for something.
Yeah.
So that would be one that I'm looking forward to. Another one that comes out that same week is called Black Bag. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh. So that always has my intrigue up. Black Bag is a gripping spy drama about legendary intelligence agent George Woodhouse and his beloved wife, Catherine. When she is suspected of betraying the nation, George faces the ultimate test, loyalty to his marriage or his country. So Black Bag. And that has Pierce Brosnan in it as well. Michael Fassbender, Kate Blanchett, Naomi Harris. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued with Black Bag. Soderbergh is a pretty good director. This has what was that movie with Brad Pitt and now I'm blanking on her name, where it was a similar plot. He married her. They were both spies. He married her.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Not Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Okay, not Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
No, that is another movie where he married a fellow spy. This is a World War II one where he marries. She was in the Dark Knight Rises. What turns out the bad girl and Inception.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on her name? She's French.
Marion Cotillard.
Yes, thank you, Marion. Yes. Basically, they go on an operation together in World War II, get married afterwards, and then it's suspected that she is actually a spy. And so there's a similar plot lines going on there with Black Bag. But Black Bag is intriguing to me, and I think could be an interesting spy movie that comes out in that's March 14th as well, along with Novocaine. Snow White comes out from Disney.
Is the movie Allied?
Allied is the movie.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. The movie is Allied. So Disney's Snow White comes out, the live action version starring Rachel Zellweger and Gal Gadot. and it will be interesting to see what that movie ends up being, because they've had to redo this a bunch of times.
I will say it's kind of live action.
Yeah, it's
Because
kind
like
of
the
live
dwarves
action.
are very animated.
Yes. Well, that's because they completely screwed this up
Yeah.
when they first started it. It just made no sense whatsoever. And so they had to go back multiple times and redo the movie. And it's finally coming out this coming March. So it will be interesting to see what that ends up looking like and what that ends up being. Um, you also, March 27th, you also get another edition of The Chosen in theaters, which, considering how well they've done in theaters, it's pretty remarkable. So that's definitely going to make some money. And that comes out March 27th. Anything else along those lines that you are looking at?
Nothing really in March that I'm seeing.
I'll also highlight a working man movie. And this is a Jason Statham action film because, why not? And Levon Cade, a former Black Ops operative, has retired from his previous profession to work in construction and focused on being a good father to his daughter. However, when his boss's daughter Jenny goes missing, Levon is forced to utilize his former skills to search for her. His investigation leads him to a dangerous criminal conspiracy which threatens to disrupt his new life. So we're getting some Taken vibes here. But can always use a good Jason Statham action movie. Sylvester Stallone is also in this, interestingly enough. And let me see if there's anything else. I think I'm good for March. What about you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, let's move on to April. Movies coming out in April. What's the one you're most interested in April so far?
The one I am most interested in is probably, sorry, I had it picked out and then not a Minecraft movie.
We'll have to talk about that in a second, though.
Yeah, I really don't know what to make of that. If that's going to make a ton of money or no money, I really don't.
I know. Yeah, let's talk about it now before we hit. Well, since we started on it, April 4th, Minecraft movie comes out. Of course, this is a wildly popular video game, and the movie itself really leans into the aesthetic, shall we say, and Jack Black kind of looks insane, but only to be topped by Jason Momoa, who also looks insane. Yeah, I really don't know what to make of this movie. Just a brief plot here. Welcome to the world of Minecraft, where creativity doesn't just help you craft, it's essential to one's survival. Four misfits, Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, played by Momo, Henry, Natalie, and Dawn, find themselves struggling with ordinary problems when they are suddenly pulled through a mysterious portal into the overworld, a bizarre cubic wonderland that thrives on imagination. To get back home, they'll have to master this world and protect it from evil things like piglins and zombies too, while embarking on a magical quest with an unexpected expert crafter, Steve, played by Jack Black. Together, their adventures will challenge all five to be bold and reconnect with the qualities that made each one of them uniquely creative.
Yeah, my response to this is like, do all video games need a movie?
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to be creating a whole lot of backstory that didn't exist. And I'm not sure how that's going to go.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite video game movie?
Video game movie. I mean, I really liked the new Super Mario Brothers movie that came out because I thought it was the right combination of clever and a new story, but also respecting the game itself.
Yeah.
There haven't been a ton of great ones.
There have not,
to be honest.
I will go with, and this might not be my favorite, but it's one that came to mind was the original Tomb Raider movie. I think it came out in say 2002, maybe 2001, 2002. I thought it was just it was a fun summer action adventure movie that I thought was interesting and fun, and had future James Bond in it as well as a side character.
It's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, Minecraft comes out on April 4th.
Make sure you put a block in your schedule.
Nice. All right. I'll give you that one. What one is did you give one that you said you were
there are two, but I'm guessing that they're probably the two that you're interested in too. So if I say one of them, you might say the other.
All right, go for it.
The one that stood out to me most is April 11th, The Amateur.
Okay.
With Rami Malek. Just because he's another person who I think is a really good actor.
Yeah.
And I like to see things that he's in. So kind of little suspense spy drama, Rami Malek's CIA and decoder in the CIA, it says. He's proven obviously with Mr. Robot, that he's really good at playing those kind of tech influenced or savvy roles. So I'm very interested in seeing him in movie form.
Yeah, this one really intrigued me. The write up here is Charlie Heller, played by Rami Malek, is a brilliant but deeply introverted decoder for the CIA, working out of a basement office at the headquarters of Langley, whose life is turned upside down when his wife is killed in a London terrorist attack. When his supervisors refuse to take action, he takes matters into his own hands, embarking on a dangerous trek across the globe to track down those responsible, his intelligence serving as the ultimate weapon for eluding his pursuers and achieving his revenge. Yeah, I just saw the trailer for this like a week or two ago, and I was like, oh yeah, this looks really good. Yeah, this looks really good. The one that I'll highlight might be the other one that you're thinking about, is The Accountant 2.
Yep.
I can't tell you, like, The Accountant really snuck up on me. At first, I was like, okay, that was a decent movie. But the more I've watched it, the more I like it. I just really do. I really like the movie. I really like what Ben Affleck did with the character. J.K. Simmons was really good in that movie as well. It was just really well done. And so I'm very much interested in the sequel here. The plot is, when her former boss is killed by unknown assassins, Treasury agent Mary Beth Medina is forced to contact Christian Wolf, which is Ben Affleck's character, to solve the murder. With the help of his estranged but highly lethal brother, Brax, Chris applies his brilliant mind and less than legal methods to piece together an unsolved puzzle. As they move closer to the truth, the trio draw the attention of some of the most ruthless killers alive, all intent on putting a stop to their search. I think there's a lot of possibilities about this being an ongoing series. I mean, the characters are interesting, the setup is interesting, and I'm very much looking forward to this one. Of all of the movies on this list, I would say maybe The Accountant 2 is the one I'm most intrigued with, coming out at the early part of the year. So yeah,
I also think April 18th, Sinners has potential to. I'm not, having seen the trailer for this, I'm not really sure what to make of it entirely, but it has very muscular Michael B. Jordan in it, shooting machine gun, and Haley Steinfeld is in it, and it says the synopsis: trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. The other really interesting thing about this is it's directed by Ryan Coogler, who directed Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Fruitvale Station, among other things. It's been a lot of Michael B. Jordan movies or Ryan Coogler movies.
Yes.
He's like his favorite actor. So I tend to think that they will do something good together, and this seems a little darker than some of the other stuff they've done. So I'm very interested in seeing where it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think April seems like the strongest month of the couple months that we reviewed here. I'm hoping we see a lot. I'm hoping 2025 is an excellent year of movies, because so much stuff got pushed back because of the writer and actor strike, that that we do end up hitting on a bunch of other movies that are really good. I hope we do not have trouble coming up with the best movies of the year.
Yeah.
Coming next year. So it will be interesting. It will be interesting. Anything else that you want to highlight?
There was not a whole lot that stood out to me.
Okay.
There's a couple other horror movies coming out. But I mean, I'll probably end up going to see some of them, but they're not like jumping out at me as I must go see that movie kind of movies.
Yeah. So I would say, there's a number of them that are coming out that I find interesting and that I'm looking forward to. So, is there one that you would say, okay, this is the one I'm looking forward to the most?
Out of the first part of the year, it's Mickey 17.
Yeah, that's up there for me. That'd probably be number 2,
and probably just because of the combination of the director and the main actor in the movie.
Yeah, totally. So I would do Accountant 2, then Mickey 17, then probably The Amateur would probably be my rankings of those.
There's also a movie that I'm not sure if I'll see in the theater because I don't even know if it will end up being in the theater, called Screamboat. That is a horror movie based on Steamboat Willie, the predecessor to Mickey Mouse.
Oh, right, because that was the big deal that lost its
because Mickey Mouse is now in the public domain, so you can do whatever you want with him, just like you can with Winnie the Pooh. So now there's horror movies with all these characters, which is very fascinating. Another thing I will point out is that Bagman, which was the worst movie I saw last year, will be coming out on Starz on March 26th. So
appointment viewing.
If you want to watch something awful and you have access to Starz, you want to remind yourself why good movies exist and that bad movies do exist. Watch Bagman.
Someone should probably remind the people at the Oscars that's just the case, but
yes,
we'll get to that.
Yes, April 2nd is when Screamboat comes out.
Okay.
For those who are interested, follows a group of New Yorkers on a late night ferry ride that turns deadly when a mischievous mouse begins a rampage, targeting unsuspecting passengers. The unlikely crew must band together to thwart the murderous menace before their relaxing commute turns into a nightmare. Starring the guy from Terrifier. So yeah,
you kind of know what you're going to get there. That's kind of how that's going to go. All right. Well, that's a good discussion of the preview of what's coming out the next couple months. If there's something that you are particularly interested in that we didn't talk about, let us know. Let us know what you're interested in going to see, and maybe we'll get back to you on that. So we'll close out today. We'll do a little bit of our watch list, movies that we've watched over the last couple weeks. So Rob, what'd you watch?
I'm trying to think of, like, what did I most recently go see in the theater? I saw something a couple weeks ago. Why am I blanking on what I saw? Oh, I saw Wolfman.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and Wolfman is the best horror movie I've seen in a long time.
Interesting. Okay.
And what makes it a great horror movie is that's a good movie, period. So I went into it with not very high expectations because I didn't think the trailers were super exciting, but I was very surprised by the movie because, like I said, it's just a good movie. It's well shot. The music is good. The visual effects and sound design are both phenomenal. I was very impressed by the sound design in particular because they take you through the transition of the guy as he is turning into this beast, and they do it in a way that you experience the things that he's experiencing as if you were him. So you hear the distorted talking of people around him. You hear the extra loud sounds of small objects and animals moving around because to him, it was like this huge sound. Like there's one scene in particular I'm thinking of where he's downstairs with his wife and daughter and you hear like this giant thumping sound and he's like all freaked out and he runs upstairs and you're like, why is this not waking them up? and it ends up he opens up the closet. There's just a spider walking on the wall, and it's because he's being changed that everything is just so much louder to him. And when they another cool visual effect is when you're seeing through his eyes, like everything is just like infrared. Everything is bright and green and all these different colors that they're not seeing, and they can't understand him talking. He can't understand them talking. So you get that terrifying perspective of like him losing his grip on reality. And I think overall it was just a phenomenal movie. I gave it 5 stars.
Nice.
Which I think is the first horror movie. I might have given one up them that last year, but very, very few and far between.
Yeah.
For me. So I would say that even if you're not a huge horror fan, Wolfman is a movie that you would enjoy if you like good movies.
Nice.
And you should probably check it out.
Yeah. I will highlight 2 that I saw. I saw Den of Thieves and then Den of Thieves Pantera in theaters. So Den of Thieves is it's kind of, someone described it as a poor man's Heat, and that makes a lot of sense. It's LA, a team of criminal bank robbers attempting to pull off an audacious heist, and the kind of out of control sheriff who's charged with stopping them. And so it has some decent heist stuff, but it's a lot of like shoot 'em up action and like characters going crazy and those sort of things. But it was a decent movie. I gave it like a 6 or maybe a 6.5 out of 10, that sort of thing. But it was enough. I really, what the situation was is I've been wanting to go see a movie and there was nothing in theaters for like a couple of weeks that I really had any interest in seeing. So I'm like, I want to go. What's the one I would go see? And it was Den of Thieves Pantera, but I hadn't seen the first one. So I needed to watch the first one in order to see the second one. The second
Did you need to see the first one in order to see the second one?
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, the one of the main guys who's part of the crew that robs the bank ends up being a main character along with the sheriff in the second movie. And you don't have any basis for their relationship outside of this. So you could, in theory, you could and just fill in the pieces, but it's worth it to see the first movie.
I'm going to be honest. When I saw the trailers for Den of Thieves 2, my initial reaction was there was a one.
I know. I completely missed that movie and didn't realize that there was another one. Yeah. So this one surprised me. The second one surprised me. It was significantly better than the first movie was. Like, not by a little bit, by a lot.
Is Gerard Butler in both?
Gerard Butler is in both.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It was really good. It delved significantly more into character development. Like, you got to know the characters, you got to know their motivations. The character writing was significantly better. The interplay between them. They focused you liked and were interested in the characters far more than you were in the first movie. The writing was better. It was a more focused movie. It was focused on the characters and then the specific heist and pulling out some of the motivations of the sheriff character and the kind of friendship that develops between him and the key thief. And all the stops it pulls out in that way. So it has some of the great marks of a good heist movie, but it also has significantly more character development, and just the pacing was better, the writing was better, the characters were better. Like, I really liked this movie, so I would give it like an 8 or an 8.5. Oh, wow. So I was almost shocked at how much better the movie was, because there are not that many in a series where you can say, okay, the second movie is clearly better.
Yeah.
And so I was expecting this to be another like 6, like maybe even 5.5 to 6. Like, what are they going to do with this? But they really did a good job with this. And I think the focus and the shift, some of the characters in the first movie were not particularly likable individuals, whereas what they did well in the second movie is they made all of the characters had their moments of likability. And so you cared about each one of those characters more than you cared about some of the characters in the first movie. And I think that was a real strength of this.
Mm.
So yeah, like I said, it was a significantly better movie, and that surprised me. So, I mean, we'll see based on what else comes out this year. Right now it's January. So how many movies have you seen?
Yeah.
But I really like this movie. It'll be around probably in my honorable mentions by the end of the year. But yeah,
and I would say Wolfman will be in my top 10 easily, and probably will challenge for the top 5. I would think by the end of the year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is the show, everyone. Thank you for tuning into Film for Fans. Make sure you check out our Film for Fans website, where we will very shortly have our top 10 movies of the year article out. And like, subscribe, tell your friends, do all of that good stuff. Until next time, enjoy the movies.